Big D Entertainment, in association with Dipsy Doodle Productions, presents The Dave Holly Hour, brought to you by Trio Jazz Club, Sioux Falls' premier jazz club. Enter as friends, leave as family. Serendipity Studio Gallery and Gifts, Chasers Food and Spirits, Excel Chiropractic, Quality Nails, and the Sioux Falls Arts Council. The Dave Holly Hour features Sioux Empire Arts and Entertainment Conversations. A true lover of arts, entertainment, good food, and fun times, including an occasional Jack Daniels. Okay, so a few Jack Daniels. Here he is, Dave Holly.
Thank you, Zach. A happy 605 day for those of you in South Dakota. Today, we get to chat with the always shining Casey Schultz. The singer, actor, choreographer is part of Goodnight Theater's Pride Cabaret Friday night and Saturday night. Native South Dakotan Allison MIckelson has an impressive resume that has taken her to many arts journeys, East Coast to West Coast. Now she's back in the 605 teaching at Eugene Field Elementary, an A-plus school. But she'll be doing more than teaching music and drama. You're still going to see her performing as often as life balance allows. Those conversations coming up. But first, let's pop the cork on this bubbly little show.
Time to grab your favorite beverage, lift it high, and toast it to being Thursday, a.k.a. Weekend Eve.
Hey, the weekend isn't around the corner, it's here!
So long, hump day and your frumpy way. We say hello to Thursdays with opening nights. The weekend is near and we can see the bright lights. Yes, Thursday, you're so hearty, we can't wait for Friday, so a day early, we start the party.
Doesn't matter what you toast with, as we all have different tastes, different times of the day that we listen. As for me, it's the typical, my usual Jasper Newton, Jack Daniels Diet Coke with a lime, and one of the guests today also drinks that. But no matter what you happen to be drinking, whether it's water, milk, coffee, tea, beer, wine, or champagne, that's going to come in a variety of different glassware. But whatever your beverage of choice is, lift it high and toast to new friends meeting old friends. While I always love the conversations here on the show, I love when you've put yourself amongst friends you know, but they don't necessarily know each other or maybe met briefly. Great conversations always seem to get started around a dinner table with a bottle of Moscato. Cheers to good wine and great conversation. The Weekend Eve Toast has been brought to you by Chasers, West 12th and Ellis Road. Stop in for great food, great beverages, and fun times. Join us Monday nights at 7 for Dave Holly Hour Trivia. This coming Monday, June 9th, it'll be the Monday before Father's Day, so the theme will be Dad. Honorable mention. What made Dave laugh, chuckle, chortle, downright slap my knee, silly, or even shed happy tears of joy recently? I'm pretty sure I experienced all of that at Old Town Dinner Theater in Worthing on Saturday night. Play on, the play, outstanding. The writing was incredible. But then what made it real for everything was the amazing cast that John J. Bowe was able to put together. In fact, John has now, I'm going to say he's mastered how to cast a show, and also does a phenomenal job at blocking for fast-paced shows. And a third point I want to give out, he finds diamonds in the rough and makes them sparkle on stage, both actors as well as plays he chooses. Well done, John J. Well done, my friend. Wish I could tell all of you to catch it if you hadn't, but last weekend was the last of a long run. But go to an OTDT, in fact, go to their website, otdt.org, and see what you do not want to miss out on next season. Get yourself some season tickets. It's going to save you. And trust me, besides the entertainment, we happen to have amazing, amazing food at Old Town. Later in the show, we have a great conversation with Allison MIckelson, who has returned to South Dakota. In just a few minutes, Casey Schultz gives us the info on the Pride Cabaret that plays Friday and Saturday night to get Pride Month grooving. It's all ahead on the Dave Holly Hour. Trio Jazz Club is an intimate music venue in the heart of Sioux Falls. It's family-owned and family-run. Ricardo and Mary Beth and the entire staff provide the art of hospitality, while the best local and regional musicians provide the smooth sounds. It's a great vibe with live music Tuesday through Saturday nights. The chefs and mixologists offer an amazing menu and beer and wine lists. Cocktails as smooth as the jazz. Join the club, Trio Jazz Club, across from the Washington Pavilion. Enter as friends, leave as family. Hard to imagine that tomorrow is the first Friday of June. That means Serendipity Studio in downtown Sioux Falls will be active participants. Check out the galleries and the gifts. True Colors, a celebration of the diverse colors of our lives, is an exhibit that's opening this weekend. Additionally, you'll find various vendors every Saturday from 10 until 4 at the Atrium Makers Market. Find it all in the historic Shriver Square building, Serendipity Studio Gallery and Gifts, downtown Sioux Falls.
He's a bit flirtatious, but most of all, fun. Once again, here's Dave Holly.
Welcome back, everyone. What a pleasure it is to talk Sioux Empire Arts and Entertainment. And what a pleasure it is to celebrate Pride Month.
Yes. Woohoo. Go Pride.
And Casey Schultz, you are going to be part of the Pride Cabaret, which is coming up tomorrow night and Saturday night.
Yes.
Here in Sioux Falls. And how did this come about? I know there's a whole bunch of different things that take place during Pride Month, but in terms of how you are involved in this and how this little cabaret got going.
Yeah, well, it's Goodnight Theater Collective, but not part of their normal season. Luke Tachi reached out to me and just said, hey, no final things yet, but maybe are you willing to be part of this cabaret situation that we might be having in June, but it's maybe not a thing. And I was like, yeah, that's very vague. I'm intrigued and I'm interested. Yeah, I would love to be in a part of whatever vague project you guys are stirring up. So
because they're usually pretty good projects.
Yeah, I was going to say I've not ever steered incorrectly. So I was like, yeah, sure. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'll be there for you. And then we got, the whole entire rundown that this is going to be part of Pride, that we're going to be helping Sioux Falls Pride out. Again, not part of the normal Goodnight season. So it's going to be a little bit different. We don't, there's a lot of swearing in this cabaret. I will tell you that.
Okay.
So, which is an abnormal thing for the Goodnight crew.
True.
So this is
a 21 plus or an 18 plus? What are we going with?
Encouraged to maybe be 18 plus or.
Just we'll say for mature audiences.
Yes, mature audiences. But honestly, art is always for everybody, so it doesn't matter.
It is, yeah.
If you don't mind a little bit of swearing, then it's for you.
And where will this take place?
It's going to be at the Orpheum at the Washington Pavilion. Just our normal art. Oh my gosh. Orpheum, the Washington Pavilion. You think I'm everywhere. The Belba stage at the Pavilion.
Okay.
There we go.
What time?
7:00. I should have... Oh, Luke is going to kill me. I think 7:00.
But if people show up at 7 and it wasn't until 7:30, then you're covered.
Then get a drink.
Yeah,
then,
exactly.
Yeah, get some Skittles. Meet
is that
people.
Your go-to?
That is one of my go-tos for sure. If I need something chewy, a sour Skittle is my
That's
go-to.
it, huh? All right. So what's going to be all involved in terms of the number of performers that we have in this, as well as the number of songs that will be performed?
Oh, gosh. Yes, we have a stacked crew of these people. Oh my gosh, between the band and the singers, we are amazing. There's me, Coleman Peterson, Bob, obviously, Ebony and Grace. I think you've seen them on stage and loved them on stage. We are all queer individuals singing queer songs, which is amazing that we can all share a stage and just be gay on stage together and love each other. Obviously, Luke is our director and our ringleader. And then we just have a star-studded cast everywhere. I can't wait for you guys to hear the music, especially since a lot of the songs I hadn't heard of prior to this. A lot of them are nice little earworms, like you get them stuck in your head and then like, why am I singing this song? What song is this? And then like, oh, it's from the Pride Cabaret, of course. And that's kind of how it all kind of comes together. It's not songs you've always heard, which is
Right.
nice. I'm trying to think of how many we have. 23 songs.
Oh, wow.
23 or 22.
So it's the
between there.
typical couple-hour show.
Yes, there's an intermission in between there. But it's very dancey. This one is a lot of movement, which I think is how the gays would want it. Nobody wants a standstill cabaret. So we're always moving, always grooving. Some slow songs, some deep cuts, but then also like the party anthems like you'd want in the club. So you can just see the spectrum of music really in this show. We get the country, then we get pop, and then we get modern, then we get, we get everything in
Excellent.
this sound.
Yeah, and it's always so great to go out to anything that Goodnight puts on.
Yeah.
It's always going to be well done and very high quality production to it and so forth. But this wasn't anything that you really had to, bust out 6 weeks of rehearsal for, though, was it?
No, I wish. I always wish there's more rehearsal time, just because I always love that. I struggled a little bit because I was in Vegas for a week. I only missed one rehearsal, but I could tell that I needed to study more in Vegas. But there's always the crunch. Like now we're in Tech Week, and yesterday we had our first meetup with the band, and oh my gosh, they sounded amazing. We sounded amazing together. Not to toot our own horns, but
toot the own.
Oh, we are professional musicians for sure. So that's always kind of scary, not knowing what you're going to go into when you're with a live band, because they're amazing and we're amazing, but can two amazing things come together and not go a little bit berserk? And things did go off kilter, but then we fixed them right away, and it was perfect. So now we get to put it on our feet today, which is great. We get to add some special guests that you'll have to see when you come to the show. Some special guests. You never know who you're going to see at a Goodnight show. So that's going to be fun, putting it onto its feet, dancing, singing, live music with the mics and the lights and all that fun stuff. That's always kind of like my favorite part, seeing where that all can fall apart, but then also come back together and meld together to make a perfect show.
Well, and of course, you've been a part of a few things like that.
Yes.
And also, speaking of cabarets, it wasn't officially a cabaret, was it? That TPP recently put on the Create.
Yeah, the Spark Called Creation.
Yeah.
It was like a cabaret showcase. Oliver's little mind child that, again, both him and Luke both text me and saying, hey, you don't know anything about this, and I'm not going to tell you anything, but can you do it? And I go, okay, sounds good.
Right, yeah.
Like, I guess what's the worst thing that could happen by saying yes to either of those two? So that's kind of how Oliver came about that too, saying, I don't want to tell you much. Let's meet up in person and let's talk about something that I want to create with you. Didn't tell me what it was about, didn't tell me if it was a premiere show, if it was just him, didn't tell me who was going to be in the cast. Even in our first meeting, he didn't tell me who was going to be in it. He sworn to secrecy, which is very hard for me because I love to chit chat, especially when my best friends are in the theater community as well. I'm like, guys, Oliver, and I couldn't say anything. I had to be very quiet and meek about it. And then he told us all about it, which was exciting, that it was just his mind and his creativity, and he got to handpick people and handpick songs for those people. I think he really enjoyed that, and it was nice to be in his mind for that. Like, it was just kind of comforting to know that, oh, someone is thinking of me and thinking about my voice and how I can challenge it too. So it just, I don't know, it was cute.
Well, I think one of the things that my love and I most enjoyed about that was it wasn't just a repeat of things that they've had at Premier Playhouse.
Yes,
it was all sorts of musical tunes and covered such a great depth of human emotion and, and
I didn't know half the. I don't think I knew.
Yeah.
I maybe knew 3 of the songs going into that show as well. That was another one where we had, I think, a total of 9 rehearsals, maybe 8. I'll give 10.
Okay,
but that's
10 at most, maximum
10 at most.
10.
Yes, and that was another thing where Oliver was like, "And you guys are professional, and you're going to do it, and I believe in all of you." And hearing somebody say, "I believe that you can do this," with however much rehearsals I'm giving you, it pushed you, and you wanted to do well, and you wanted to be off book, and you wanted to be a star, and you wanted, to just be great for him, which is a nice thing that he pushes out of us,
All right. And so you're going to be doing the same thing now, except the one advantage this will have versus that, live band.
Yes, which is always fun.
Yeah.
And they get to change with us and kind of groove with our music. Or, you're not, I love a track. I do. I think it's so cool hearing the original music behind you, but it's just more cathartic almost hearing people's fingers move on a piano or strum a guitar behind you. And it just makes live theater more live, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And a good friend of mine always says, live music is good for the soul.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my gosh,
live theater is good for the soul. Anything live is good. You know, and I always equate this. You know, I was a part of the Midtown Coffee Radio Hour for a few years. And one of the things that I always told them after hearing a song was because I'm not necessarily I hate anything new. I'm not one of those. But, you know, having grown up in a certain era to a certain style of music and so forth, I don't find as much that I enjoy out of anything new. But when I would hear them cover a song of something that maybe I didn't go, oh, I don't like that song, but maybe just thought, oh, okay, you know, so what? But then when it comes to life and it's live, it's like, then when it comes back on the radio sometime, you go, oh, yeah, man, that's a song that they did so great, wasn't it?
And where's Marin's vocals? Why am I listening to this person? And why am I not hearing Wade in the background? Like, why am I not hearing these amazing people? I'm hearing these people instead. I totally get that. I just listened to a song that Rachel sang for the Spark Called Creation, and I was like, why does this sound weird? Like, I was like, I can't even remember what song it was. But I'm like, this does not sound right. And I realized it's because the last time I heard it was Rachel blasting it into our faces and being so talented and crazy. So I get that. I get where you're like, oh, my friends are so talented and so beautiful, and it's live, and you felt that with them, and now you're hearing it on Spotify. And it's like, oh, God, I wish it was live every day.
I can't remember who the major artist was, but he was talking about the critiquing that great fans will do at a live concert.
Oh.
Well, you know, on the second verse, you missed that one word by... It's like, are you kidding me?
That's like my worst fear. Oh my gosh. Especially, I'm an ad-libber to the core, so I would hate that. I'd be like, oh gosh, no. Don't tell me that. And that's so weird if you're such a fan of somebody.
Right.
To point out that, but.
All right. But in the meantime, first of all, I'm a big fan of you.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Thank you.
As is Carrie. Yeah. And
and I love Carrie.
Oh, yes, I do too. Yeah. And she's just one of those that she tags along with me a lot, but then is so happy that she did. And anytime that you are a part of anything we're going to, that makes it extra special.
Oh, thank you. That means the world.
Yeah, we just we enjoy you so much when you're up on stage, and not just in singing, but also dancing and acting. And so that's your, you know, that's your big trio that you have right there.
Yes.
Those skills.
I think I would like to say that, yes.
I would. Okay. I think everybody around town that has seen you perform would say that.
Thank you.
And so when it comes to doing a cabaret, how much of the other two factors do you get to do?
Oh, gosh. I mean, you sing in every song, dance in a vast majority. I think the acting is the one that you lack in. But even then, that I say it every single day, I act every single moment of my life. There is not a time where I'm not on, you know, even if I'm at my apartment by myself, I'm, you know, acting like I need to, you know, acting is everywhere. So I think if you can put it in a cabaret, it's easy. There's a couple moments where we're kind of more of like we stay and then we sing out, but you can't just stand there and sing a song. You have to emote. That's that emotion is acting, you know, when you move your hand is going to be your acting thought, you know? So, but I do think the vast majority of cabarets is singing and then that dancing and then sprinkled in some acting, which is why I love kind of intermingling musicals and now straight plays, which I didn't think I was into them as much, but then I got to do premieres and it was completely straight play, no singing, no, not really comic either. I mean, there were some comedic aspects of it, but that was a really big challenge because I don't think acting is my strong suit when it comes to those three, especially. So I like challenging myself and trying to act more and more. So, yeah.
But you talked about your acting every day and every part of your life. That Shakespeare guy had something, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
Amazing. All the world is a stage.
Oh, Shakespeare, I guess you're correct about some things. Whatever. I'll give it to you.
All right. Yeah, we'll give it to Shakespeare on that one. So what draws you to the LGBTQ community?
Well, as someone who is queer myself, I identify as pansexual, which is always like this very big umbrella term.
Which is the one that I think is everybody should be.
Yes. It's just so, I think when I originally came out, which is so fun about your sexuality and gender and all that stuff, it's always changing. It's always morphing. It's always creating something new, which is the beauty of love. But when I came out as bi, I was kind of like, okay, that makes sense. I've always loved everybody. I've never been, there was obviously when I was younger, I was like, ew, girls, that can't be right. You know, how we all feel like that's a very tried and true story. You kind of always think that way, that it's not right. And then you discover yourself. Inevitably in college, that's when I did mine. But then I remember talking to somebody who was non-binary. And that was such a weird thing for me because they aren't female or male. They aren't. Like, that's just how they identify. So then am I wrong? Like, being bisexual, well, I love this person, so that means I'm not bi. So then I kind of did some more research on things and talked to people around me in my community at Augie at that time. And yeah, they kind of gave this term of pansexual and realizing that really love is just love no matter what. Whatever is in someone's pants and in their mind, it doesn't matter. You just love them for who they are.
Exactly.
Which is, I think, again, you're right. We should all be that.
Yeah, in some form, we should all be that way.
I think we're all pansexual. Everyone's coming out as pansexual this Pride. Congratulations, everybody. We love you.
Yes.
But that was, I haven't really told my parents.
Pansexual, you put the P in pride.
Yes, there we go. I haven't told my parents that because it's something newfangled for them. I even think my sexuality in general is very newfangled to them. But I know that they love me no matter what. So it's not something that they need to come out and say, we respect you and accept you. I feel that. And I think that's another great thing about love, that it doesn't have to be verbal all the time. It can be just a hug or, an understanding smile. Like, I've never came out to my parents, and I don't think I need to, because I know they just love me.
Right.
Which is a great thing about Pride. And that's why I love Pride, especially Sioux Falls Pride. We just are all happy to be together.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been at a Pride, either the parade or the festival itself or a drag show or something, where I felt like icky and negative. Like, there's not that during Pride. And maybe that is some optimistic and that's some blinders, but joy is just what we need right now. And I think Pride is the perfect, catalyst of that. We can always just have joy because of Pride.
Yeah. And I can't remember the British actor's name, but there was just a short video that was going around a few days ago even. And he talked about, when you fly back into England, he says, and you get out of an airplane at Heathrow and you're lucky enough to get your baggage within an hour. And he keeps stringing it along about everything that takes all this much time.
Yeah.
He says, and then I hop into a cab, which luckily I had enough money to afford. And the cab driver says, "Where to, love?" And he said, "Oh, I'm home."
No.
Because one man doesn't know another man, just says love.
Yeah.
And I think about that a lot. I've got a very good friend, a comic down in Sioux City, that he usually signs off with no matter what he's written, and he can be very political and so forth, but he always signs off with one love.
Yeah.
And I think that our world would be so much better if we could just get to that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes. And like, love is the true only thing I can think of that is completely free. Like, between love and kindness and acceptance, that is a free thing that we can give. And in a place that we are struggling to survive financially, like, why can't we just give love and give acceptance and kindness and empathy? It's just so simple. And I love to be a negative little Nancy. It feeds me. I love being negative, but on the grand scheme of things, I just love everything. So that is, I don't know. it's weird that people search for the hate, which is, I mean, there's a saying that if you look for dirt, you're going to find dirt, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So and that's the same thing about positivity. If you look for the good, you're going to find the good. So,
Yeah. All right. So do that.
yeah.
Not just this month, all the time.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
just, you know, because what's it matter?
I know we're all like gonna die. I hate saying that, but we're all just gonna die. And why can't we just be happy while we're here?
Yes.
You never know when the last moment is your last moment, and you never know when the person you're talking to, that's their last moment. So why make that interaction miserable? for the
Well,
both of you?
I am so happy. Brian Shipper passed away a couple of years ago. And just a few days prior to that, I had him in this studio to talk about the play that they had coming up at Corson. And he always loved taking selfies. So he took a picture of the two of us. And he's got that huge smile that he had. And then when I was taking him out to the door, the last thing we said to each other was, "I love you."
Oh.
Yeah. And I'm so thankful.
Yes.
That was what I said last. Yeah. And, you know, people need to keep that stuff in mind because, as you say, who knows? At any time, boom, something could be gone. And then you miss it. And then you maybe even go back and start to doubt yourself. Was I a good enough person, a good enough friend, spouse, partner, whatever, to them and so forth. But no, so take care of it when you can.
Yes.
Every day.
Yes.
Let somebody know you love them. All righty. So do you have a favorite song in this Pride Cabaret?
Oh, gosh.
One that you're a soloist on and have really been wanting to belt out?
I would say probably Poison by Renee Rapp. She is one of my favorite artists at the moment. A queer woman who's very unapologetically her. She was a Broadway girl first. She was Regina George on Broadway. She won the Jimmy Awards, or she was a part of it. I can't remember. I'm a bad fan. But then came out with music, and I just love her. I think, again, I like the unapologeticness of her, that she is just her through and through, which is something that I strive to be, but I think a lot of people strive to be, whether they want to admit it to themselves or not. And Poison is just... right. It sits really good in my range too. So I don't feel like I'm straining and trying so hard to sing it. I just can, which is always comforting. And I bet singers out there know if you have to reach for something, it sucks. And if you have to ask them to lower it, it's like, oh no, I can't believe I just did that. But this one was a perfect fit for my voice. So thank you, Luke. I just love, and that's where I swear a lot in that song. If anybody knows that song, I think I say the F word.
Okay, so if you're looking for it on Spotify or Apple, it's going to have the little E.
The E. It says explicit. I think it should have 3 E's at this point. I say that for, I think, 10 times at least.
So it's 3 E's for 3 X's?
Yes. There we go. I love that song. Otherwise, I really have this love-hate relationship with a song called Make More Money. I get to sing it with Bob and Coleman. And it is so wordy, and I hate words. I'm dyslexic and I talk too fast. So that is like my worst fear, is to like basically rap and sing. And it's a fast song, but I just got all the words yesterday for the first time, and I love it now. So I'm like excited to perform it. High energy, just high volume. We're always moving on stage with that song. And then I get to perform it with 2 of my favorite people. So that's always a plus. You know?
A big bonus there. That's for sure. I did not realize you were dyslexic.
Yeah. And it's kind of weird because I taught reading. That was like and I do love reading. It was something that I didn't realize was a problem until it was really young, obviously. But it's kind of normal now. I think as a 26-year-old, I don't really think about it anymore. But yeah, it's more kind of like verbally too. I have a hard time processing what I'm thinking and then saying it correctly. So like I get little stumbled over my words. It's because I talk too fast and I blah, 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 blah. So it's all fun and games, you know. We all have some issues. That's fine. That's what I love about being a human being.
How is it when you are rehearsing then? Is it a difficult part in learning the song when looking at the words?
Yeah, I have to have it really big so I can see each letter, which is hard. I hate cold reading. Like when during an audition, it's my biggest fear. a lot of times it's because I can't slow down. I just want to get it done right away.
Mhm.
I can't focus on what I'm looking at. And then everybody knows a cold read. You want to look at the paper, but you want to look at
Right.
the director
Yeah.
and the people in the room. And
So
wanna
you
look
get
at
cast.
Yes. And that's like the scariest part. So I love that Premiere has been sending them out like a week. If like you get a call back, they give
Right.
you all the material. So I thank them every single time that I get that, because even if I'm not memorized, being familiar with something is
Mhm.
very nice and comforting. That I'm not looking down at it completely, and it's kind of like, yeah, just comfort. But it hasn't been that big of an issue that I've discovered.
Right.
It's just something that is now
that's-
normal.
Yeah,
which is
and that
great.
it's good that it works for you too,
Yeah.
and that you're also young enough you remember a lot of things.
Yes.
I can't memorize a song anymore.
Oh no.
Yeah,
We got it. We'll work on it. We'll work on it together.
Yes, we
got
will.
this.
We'll find it somehow. There's one other thing that you were going to be a part of this month, but regrettably we had to cancel the Vaughties show for the 26th, but you were on the docket. And the best part was you're going to be in it later in the year.
Yes, I cannot wait. I haven't been a part of Audi's, and I was like,
know.
I want to be it. I want to be a part of it. But I waited my turn. I was patient, which
Yeah,
is something I'm
yeah.
not good at. Anybody who knows me at all, I'm the least patient person in the world. So it was nice that you asked me, and I'm really excited.
Yeah,
I'm excited to
and-
work with some people.
Yeah, some fun people, no
Mhm.
doubt about that. Let's see. Any group that you're involved in or anything you were in up for any stage award?
I am up for a stage award.
Really?
Yes.
He says, wink in his eye,
Oh,
leading question.
We had a little viewing party at Oliver Maze's house with Ben, and we were a bunch of us were together, and gosh, the Sioux Falls Stage Awards are just so fun and weird and kooky. Like, it's just such a weird thing that we do as a community, and it's so fun. I was definitely not expecting anything,
Mhm.
especially knowing that Mrs. Myers was on for a scene and a half, and she had a song. But she was a fun character to create and play around with, and just be mean to children, which I never do. And whistle in people's faces, which was also very fun, and wear that atrocious wig. Thank you, Brittany, for that one.
Oh, that is a nasty one.
Oh God, but I wouldn't have been her without it. So I am thankful. I'm mad, but I'm thankful. So, and the tracksuit, ew, disgusting, but also I love it. Same with the tracksuit that I wore at the wedding. That was blue. All gross, but amazing. So I was very thankful.
And that's why she's up for an award too.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So many talented people in I always forget that we're like a community stacked full of very talented people. And then
That
this
we
stuff
are.
happens, and I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, they're talented. Perfect. What's next? Oh, awesome. And they're talented as well. And they're perfect as well. That's, so I don't know who votes for those things, but I do not envy you at all, because I could not make
this is episode number 278.
Mhm.
It's your third time on it.
Yes.
But in 278 episodes, we've had over 350 individual guests
Whoa.
on. And then there's the people such as yourself that come
Yes.
back because, there's other things that you're in. And of course, just the fact that you're a hell of a great person.
Thank you.
And so it's always great to have both of that.
Mhm.
And coming up after you, I'm going to be speaking with someone that I've been seeing on stage for many years. Finally have a chance to talk to Allison MIckelson.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What a fun episode.
Yeah.
Allison, come on.
Yep.
This is the most viewed episode, I bet. Whatever.
I bet so. Yeah, I can feel it in the bones. All right. So, as a third-time guest, you've answered the earlier ones, the questions of what would you be doing if you weren't in entertainment? What would you like to be entertained by? All of that. But how about this one for you? I don't think I've sprung this one on you.
Oh no, I was preparing for those ones. Darn it.
Shucks, huh? What is Casey Schultz's one word or even a phrase for a mantra?
Wow. My parents always used to say this to me, and I said it to my students. I say it to myself. It's just the two words, always shine. I love that aspect of being on stage and being the star on stage, but then also, illuminating light and love wherever you go. I think that's what also shining means.
Yeah.
Shine also just means like elevating and levitating above whatever is maybe dark in your world, which I think is, we're surrounded by it. So if you can always shine, the darkness will go away, whether it's, it's still there, but your shine is stronger than it. So I think that's a good mantra that I always try to remember.
I love it. Okay. So, and we're looking forward to seeing you shine tomorrow night.
I hope, yes.
And it's also, besides Friday night, it's also Saturday night.
Yes. And we have discounted tickets as well. If you go, the code is something that I can't remember. If you look on our social media, you'll be able to see it. It's everywhere. So
gotcha.
Something 10.
Yeah.
I know that.
Fantastic. Oh, Casey Schultz, always a pleasure to have you here, dear. You are such a great person. Love you to death.
I love you too. Thank you. It's so fun having this connection.
That it is. All right. We'll be back with more of the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment. Who's playing a trio this weekend, you ask? Hey, the unofficial director of cannoli sales, Dan Heyer, is back with a dynamic quartet playing classic and contemporary jazz. That's at 6:30 tonight. And then Friday night, the Brian Hannigan Quintet is going to have two shows, 6:30 and 9. Check out his original songs from his album Constellation and soon to be released new album. Again, two shows, 6:30 and 9. It's two shows Saturday night with Clayton Ryan on the trio stage, and the usual 6:30 and 9. He released his first solo album called Ghost Town. Next week, we'll start off the week with Tony DiPaolo playing guitar and singing on Tuesday night, 6:30, and the Shamrockers, led by Mike Connor, on guitar Wednesday night at 6:30. For show times and tickets, as well as information about upcoming shows, go online at triojazzclub.com.
Ladies, when it's time to give your nails some love, get that extra special treatment from Quality Nails on South Minnesota Avenue in Sioux Falls. Manicures and pedicures that look great and make you feel fantastic. Zaya and Tony don't simply provide the service, they provide professional care for your hands and feet. Whether you just want the basics or you're looking for an extra special look with an added flair. Oh, and guys, it's okay to treat yourself too. Quality Nails on Minnesota. Call for an appointment, 605-334-1463.
People ask him where he got his top shelf voice. Dime store? Bargain. Once again, here's Dave Holly.
Welcome back, everyone. It is such a pleasure to talk Sioux Empire Arts and Entertainment. And I've told you so often about how often it's great when I get somebody that comes back on the show, whether I need to talk to them or whether they've said, hey, Dave, can I get in to talk about this? We accommodate. But I also love having somebody new on the show. And this, sometimes I go, gosh, it's, episode 278 now, and I finally get to talk to her. But that's because we had to go through life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Allison MIckelson,
Yes.
Welcome back to South Dakota.
Thank you.
Yeah. Teaching at Eugene Field.
Field A+ Elementary.
Yeah.
And Dave, maybe this is where we start, is had to go through life.
Mm-hmm.
And may I say, I'm born and raised in Pierre.
Right.
And never, ever felt like I have to get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
And no fault for on the people who need to leave.
Right.
I didn't feel I needed to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, what I wanted to do wasn't necessarily in Pierre, South Dakota. And I didn't know that, I had to do a few things and then realize I had to go further. Because I was in North Dakota for a while, and then I had to go to New York. I had to go as an almost 30-year-old woman. That's when I went to New York. And I could laugh at myself at being green in many ways. I could laugh at myself I've always been on stage. Since I was literally in utero. I think my parents brought me home from the hospital and I was at church choir the next night or something like that. And, my first memories are of my dad on stage and me getting up on stage or performing in my living room. So I've always been on stage, but not professionally. And it's interesting. I was literally bathed in the arts growing up. Jay and Bev Mickelson are the hands and feet of Christ, and also phenomenal artists themselves. And I was raised by artists in Pierre. So we sang together. Music was always on the record player or on TV. We were going to see concerts. My parents supported the Shortgrass Arts Council and all the concerts. Anyway, but becoming one of those artists, I didn't realize that could be me. So I had to go and teach. And I had a life in North Dakota, and I met my one of my best soulmates, Job Christensen, who's from Grand Forks, who had been on Broadway. And Job was directing a show. I auditioned. Someone said, you need to meet Job. And then he cast me as Roxy Hart in Chicago.
Wow.
And it was my first pro production in Grand Forks, North Dakota. And it was being affirmed that, I am a performer. And now I need to go do this in different spaces. And I will say some of the best musicians, some of the best artists I have worked with are in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. The Haig brothers are, and that band is
incredible.
Some of the top. So, but I also had to have the experiences
Right.
of New York. And then I had to have the experiences of regional theater, performing in Portland and Colorado and Alaska. And then I did my grad work in acting in Scotland, Glasgow, Scotland. And so what you said is so true. I had to live life. And as a performer, I'm always leery of teaching people performing because I think so much of it is living, right? It is being alive. It is observing people. It is working that job as a server and observing all these different people. So then you have this wealth of information when you're a character actor or something, or it's teaching and loving kids and learning the dynamics of kids on a Tuesday. Or so I think that, along with school, makes you a great performer. But I really think it is both and. Like, I think it is life, hopefully, that makes me a great performer. And I've had directors say that to me before, too, that I bring in life experience. I'm not 20 anymore either. So. Anyway.
29, we'll take it.
Yeah.
But I love that you brought that up about, you're working in a restaurant. And so it's like, that old adage of, every actor in New York City and so forth is waiting tables.
Yep.
Waiting for the break and so forth. So what was the first big thing besides North Dakota where you had the opportunity to play Roxy?
Then I think I came to New York for an audition called the Straw Hat Auditions. And you go and you get 90 seconds. You get 90 seconds to do a monologue and a song. And luckily, a theater on the Jersey Shore saw me, and they saw my resume that I was a teacher. And so they hired me to do summer stock, but also children's theater. And so I then went to Long Beach Island, an island in New Jersey, and I walked to the beach, and I was going to be working 1 block from the beach. And I'm looking at the ocean, and I literally can't believe this is my life. And then kitty corner from the theater is a Methodist church. And I grew up across the street from the Methodist church in Pierre, South Dakota. So I called my mom weeping, and I said, I think this is a sign that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
Small theater, a good theater, but a small theater. But the other thing I realized, too, is I believe very much in children's theater. I believe very much in, no matter where anyone is. I think growing up in South Dakota, where we're a small state with a small population, that we deserve and we have phenomenal art.
Right.
And so I didn't care if I was in a small school in Jersey or at a big school in Hoboken, whatever. Like, children's theater is very important to me. And I love performing for kids because they're so honest. They either love it or hate it. But that was, and then I got on stage for the summer stock part, which is you do, 6 shows in 4 months or something, and you get paid barely anything. Literally barely anything. And I remember I was doing, every night, we were doing Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, and I was one of the wives, because it's all the brothers and all the wives. And at the end, they have a mega mix where they kind of go through the whole show, and I'm doing turns across the stage for the curtain call, weeping, just like, is this my life? Like, I get to be performing. Oh, wow. And from there, it was a lot of, turmoil. Auditioning is not easy, and especially when you're non-equity, so not a part of the union. It's getting up at 4 a.m, putting your name on a sign up, and hoping that when the people come at 10, they honor the sign up. I mean, some people are getting there at 3 a.m. You go down, you put your name on a list, and then you get there again at 8 when they open the building. I mean, it was insanity. You have your headshots. Sometimes there's so many people auditioning that it's just they look at headshots and they're like, you stay, the rest of you leave. And that's actually a gift. Don't waste my day, right?
Right.
But auditioning is tough, and it was so personal to me instead of kind of a job.
All right.
So I went in and out of teaching in New York, and in and out of auditioning, and in and out of waiting tables, and but I just soaked up New York City. I mean, I was at Alvin Ailey taking dance classes, weeping every time because I'm learning at this sacred, hallowed Alvin Ailey Studios. Now, I was just taking Zumba or hip hop or African dance, but I was still learning in this incredible space. I was going to see Broadway shows when I could afford it. I was seeing concerts at Joe's Pub, or even at, there's a theater I can't say right now, where all my friends who are singer-songwriters would perform down in the Lower East Side. So, I mean, I was just soaking up New York City and going to readings whenever I could. And then I found this amazing church called Middle Collegiate Church that is an activist space, an artist space, a bold creative space. And so I started going there because my gay best friend was welcome there. And so all were welcome. And me as a divorced woman, I was welcome there. And they were dancing every week. They were praying with poetry. And it was this multicultural, multi-ethnic, multi-socioeconomic community. And I started singing with them and getting paid to sing. And so it was also, as a performer, I was also in this place where you were paid for your art. Which I had done so much work as an artist already, that to be paid for what I have honed was unbelievably dignifying. And so I got to sing this music that was powerful, but also so creative. And then I started working for this church, and I was doing arts. We were dancing, and we were singing, and we were marching, and it was life-changing, because I was also getting to sing Jesus Christ Superstar with Broadway performers at this church. I was performing my cabaret there. I did my cabaret at 54, but nope, at wow, I can't even say the name anymore. But I did a cabaret there that sold out 2 nights, and it was me telling my story through song and word, and it was, again, just building this confidence. I think that's what I was doing, was living life, taking these dance classes I wanted, going to auditions, getting rejected, getting small gigs here and there, and then starting to be in this artistic community that happened to be a faith-based community, very progressive. But I was getting all these opportunities to use my artistic voice and my spiritual voice, right? And so it's growing, and I'm working there, and I'm working everywhere. And then I go to this audition for Fun Home, which is, it was the Tony Award-winning musical about a lesbian cartoonist whose dad, trigger warning, commits suicide. Oh. And this is, you find this all out in the first, and it is the most beautiful, gut-wrenching, hilarious, human musical. And I went because I look like the lead character. I know the music and loved the music. And so I went to this audition in like May or June. I know all the songs for it because I hope someday I'll play the role. And her name happens to be Allison MIckelson. So
Easy to remember
learned,
that part during the lines.
Right. So I learned this show, and I go to this audition, and it was okay. It was fine. I don't think I was great. But it wasn't horrible. And a month and a half later, I get an email saying, we need you for the callback for Fun Home at Portland Center Stage. And I'm like,
that's been months then.
I had no idea what they were even talking about. I actually thought it was a joke. I didn't remember doing the first audition. I had no idea what it was. I was working in this arts, faith community. And I was like, I'll go to this audition. And it was this beautiful table of people who cared about who I was as a performer, who wanted to know I was okay, that I felt comfortable in the room, and wanted to see my best. And there are many auditions in New York. And some people don't have time for that because they're, going. Probably not the people I'm going to work with because I'm very heart-led, mission-driven. Right. And
you know what's right for you.
Yeah, amen. Yeah. And, my vocal coach at the time said, your people will be your people. And it hasn't, in all of my life, that's really been true. And so I met the music director at Portland Center Stage and the producing artistic director, and it was the most beautiful audition. And I walked out of that and I was like, oh, wow, I might get this job. Uh-huh. And at the same time, I was being offered a really big arts in ministry job. And I went back the next day and I did well. I took notes. Like, one of the things that directors look for is, if I give you a note, will you take it and try something else? Mm-hmm. Or are you only one, And I luckily did the right things. And I walked out of that second callback and went, I think I booked the job. And so Allison Bechtel, the show Fun Home, Portland Center Stage, changed my life, because then for the next 2.5 years, I worked consistently as an actor, nonstop. You get on a very short list for playing Allison in this show. So another theater called me, and then another theater called me. And then I got a one-woman show offer at a small theater in Portland. And then I got an offer in Alaska, and I did Elf in Syracuse, New York. And so, work begets work. And I think part of it was hopefully my work ethic and positivity in my performing. But also I had the confidence now because I got that first huge job in Portland. It was the West Coast premiere of Fun Home. It was at the biggest theater I've ever performed in. It was a phenomenal production. And I just, I think blossomed and opened. And some really, really dear friends from high school came to see the show. And actually many friends from across the country came because they knew I had, quote unquote, made it. Like, this was it. This was my big break. And, most of them wept afterwards because it was so exciting to see me doing, what I've always been doing, but on a big scale. It was so affirming to be witnessed in that way by such dear friends who know me as an artist, who know me as an actor. So for them to see that, and for my parents to see that, was in a show that is truly phenomenal.
One of the things that gets mentioned on this show quite often is the family that you grow when it comes to being in the arts. I'm going to guess that your family arts tree has got a lot of limbs on it.
Okay, New York is a small town. I will tell you, New York is such a small town. You are 1 degree from everywhere. But yes, and it is chosen family too. Like, because you end up being together for holidays. When you're doing a Christmas show, you're doing a Christmas show. And that means you're not going anywhere for Christmas except to the stage door, right? Or like when you miss your brother's wedding because you're doing a show that was getting me my equity card. Like, so you also lean on these people, but I mean, this family of artists and this family where it's what we do, and it's, you also reach out to people like, hey, this is a friend of mine. Would you see me for this audition? I know he's been working on the show or whatever, or they know me. They called me in for this audition. So it is a who you know. But luckily I was taught, or I don't know. To me, it's very much about authentic relationships too. Like that Portland room was incredibly authentic. Like I could be no one else but who I was. Luckily, I wasn't trying to be what they needed other than I'm going to play this role.
Right.
But they also were authentically who they were, which was really caring individuals. And so there was a match there. I have fallen in love with Juneau, Alaska, and the theater there. And so it's just, it's this, family that, and then the Haig brothers. Whenever I'm in town, I always want to go see them play, and I want to learn from other artists, not just, okay, how can I perform? But I just want to hear Jeremy play all the time, right?
That's a treat.
Right. I want to, Jim Spears and I have a lot of arts advocacy conversations, or arts education conversations. I want to know what Megan Erickson, the art teacher at Eugene Field A+ Elementary School, is doing. What are they doing at Premiere and at DAPA and at Spotlight, and what it's also like, how can I am an artist, so how can I support art no matter what in this community as well, right? Because if I want live theater, then I need to go see it.
That's right. And be involved in some fashion.
Amen.
Even if you don't act, hey, there's a lot of things you can do around the stage, front of house. You could volunteer, usher, whatever.
But also, Dave, I think something that I really am trying to, maybe one of my crusades, is being an active audience member.
Exactly.
Especially in AI days, especially in a lot of film, TV, and we just came out of COVID, right?
Yeah.
Like, especially in a lot of streaming, which I love. And there is nothing like live theater. There is nothing. We share air. And so I also really like to talk to audiences about, when you are laughing, when you go on the ride with me, I give you a better show.
Yeah,
and it's
exactly.
not necessarily, I mean, it just happens. Like, when I know you are listening to my every word, I will dig even deeper into my character. And we found that with Fun Home, especially because this musical is cuckoo. I mean, but also when you come when we are a trustworthy cast, when we have done our work, and when I am taking my care of myself outside the theater so I can get on stage and do 100% my job, when I am a trustworthy actor, then you can come on the ride with me. And together, this symbiotic relationship will create something that cannot be explained. And so I try to tell people in the audience, I go, you're a great audience, or, wow, we did not hear you, audience. Like, were you alive? And some people feel more or less comfortable doing that, but it is such a symbiotic relationship. So we need great audiences too, people who will laugh, people who will cry, people who will gasp. And I find that when I can trust the people on stage, I will go there with them too as an audience member. So, I mean, I love when my dad's in the audience because he's a loud laugher. People love when my dad's in the audience, and they say that too. So, I don't know, but we were just at a performance together, the Fellowship Jazz Center Big Band Orchestra, excuse me. Sorry, I'm not saying the right words. Fellowship Jazz Center Orchestra. It was unbelievable.
Yes, it was.
That band was unbelievable. May I say it again? That band was, I was on the edge of my seat.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough, and of course I even volunteered it, that I said, hey, if you need somebody to host it, MC it, keep me in mind. And I'm hoping that continues.
Right.
Because that was such a great experience. Because I'm a huge lover of jazz. It's my Jazz Award's right over there from 1981.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah. And so
I have one of those.
and it's just one of those that I told my band teacher right before he passed. And so we were 40 years, I think, past high school. And I told him, I said, all those athletic things, ribbons, recognition stuff, gone. But there's one thing that I hold on to, and that is my Louis Armstrong Jazz Award. So I'm a huge fan of jazz to begin with. And oh boy, God bless you, Ricardo and Mary Beth.
Amen.
Thank you for having a jazz club, an authentic jazz club, and bringing live music 5 nights a week.
And they were doing it so long before at
Our Wine and wherever they could.
Right.
But to make it an actual jazz club that also happened to serve liquor, not just beer and wine.
Right.
Automatic draw for Dave.
Right.
But anyway, it's just, so great to see how that's progressing. And I tell you what, I am going to help them become whatever this group needs to be, because I believe in it. We all miss Jazz Fest and so forth.
Yeah.
Well, let's be honest, it's probably not going to happen the way that it used to happen.
Right. So what's
next?
What's emerging?
Yep.
And that's, sorry, I'll say it again, Fellowship Jazz Center and the orchestra. It was so inspiring because those musicians, and so I'm an actor I'm a musician as well, but it was so great to hear that. It made me want to work harder. And then Staley with his jazz band before, who were great. So, I mean, I was on the edge of my seat. And again, a live music performance.
Yep.
So what is so exciting about Sioux Falls, I think, is they support live art. I mean, visual, but also all of this musical and theatrical too.
And look at how many theater companies we have now.
So many, right?
Exactly.
Good Night too, as well. I know I was listing some of them.
Theater Lab. We've got Mighty Course, and you've got Worthing at Old Town.
The Dinner Theater.
And you've got TPP, but there's Monstrous Little Theater.
Right.
It's just and not just the fact that we have more companies and growing that way, finding more places to perform.
Amen.
Too. Yeah, and also for the visual artists, finding more places to display.
Yes, I just saw someone working in the alley behind, kind of right the next alley over from Wiley, as someone was painting the wall, and I was so excited. It was so exciting. So to see, large outdoor art murals, the sculpture walk. Yeah, what a gift! What a gift is Sioux Falls. So I miss New York. That is no joke. I miss New York. I miss the energy, and Sioux Falls is thriving as an arts community, and South Dakota too.
I always remember the first time I ever interviewed Sarah Crosby after she just moved here and just started, then DAPA, now Spotlight.
Yes.
And she told me, she says, the kids in Sioux Falls are just as talented as any kid in Los Angeles, Chicago, or New York. They just haven't had the opportunities. And there are opportunities now, because back then, if somebody got a degree in the theater from Augie or USF, they were kind of like, hey, congratulations, good luck to you.
Yeah.
Now it's not so, what you going to be doing? You got anything lined up? Now it's, oh, wow, congrats on that job that you...
Yes, right.
Yeah, and it's just fantastic to see that. You mentioned the sculpture walk. I always say thank you, Jim Clark, for that. And what it brought, I kind of equate that to the time that Sioux Falls really started to progress in the arts.
Well, I mean, in downtown,
Yes.
a thriving downtown where often that's not happening, and I live downtown. I love downtown Sioux Falls so much, right? But I would be remiss if I didn't also thank Laura Felstead at Eugene Field, who has been in the community doing camps, but also doing all of these musicals and doing all of the musical and acting work. I mean, I think this year at Eugene Field, I probably was just riding her coattails, and all of the years and years and years of work she has done. I mean, I pray that I can continue somehow in her footsteps, but also all of the music teachers, all of the drama teachers, the list is, and it takes a village, right? It takes all of those people doing the work.
All right, so you'd mentioned, the fact that, basically you're born, you go to church choir the next night.
Yeah. Yes.
And all the influence that you had from your parents and seeing them on stage. But aside from them, who was somebody that you really went, oh, I need to find out more from this person?
Well, I mean, I wanted to be a cross of Julie Andrews, Barbra Streisand, and Carol Burnett.
Ah.
And now I want to be Mr. Rogers as well. So those four.
Awesome choices.
Right? Wow. That is so fascinating. I mean, Job Christensen, from Grand Forks, North Dakota, but did Cats on Broadway, and it was their very first audition in New York City, then did the Ragtime National Tour. But I think when I got to New York, wow, I was really hungry to learn from anybody at Alvin Ailey. But then Titus Burgess, who did Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, Titus and I went to church together, and so made a lot of music together.
Love him.
Right. And so Titus has been a really influential friend and human in my life. And so I would say Titus is somebody that I always wanted to stay close to. But I mean, I'm so fascinated to learn from anyone, I guess. And especially wiser, older women, I want to just sit at their feet and, ask questions, but also, how did you learn how to say no? How did you learn how to... Mary Jen Felstead from Pierce, South Dakota, is also Larissa Fasthorse and Robin Holcomb are three women who I grew up watching, and then Deborah Workman and Sandra Molman are these women, and they're all South Dakota women who are my idols because they've gone on to be in the arts in some way or another. And I asked Mary Jen, because we got to do a show together in Portland, or our shows overlapped. And I was, like a middle schooler when she was in high school, just like, oh, you're so cool, And I asked her, where did you get permission to be big? And because I was trying to step into performing and being fully me, I guess. And Mary Jen said, Allison, you're from the prairie. You were born with permission to be vast and big. And that was pretty huge.
Yeah.
And
it's quotable.
Right. And then Sandra Molman, who lives in between here and Vermilion, and does a lot of community theater and community building, and through art. She and I have had many conversations where how can we make equitable art? How can we make sustainable art? How can we make non-hierarchical art and democratic art and feminist art and community-forward art and youth-led art. And so she has really been an inspiration for me. And then in Scotland, my teacher, Eve Jemison, I don't know that I can curse on this show.
Yes, you may.
I may.
Yes.
She said to me, after I did an audition in grad school, this was into the year, and I did an audition, and she has a Scottish, beautiful, lilting Scottish accent that I can't do, and she's probably, is she? She's definitely older than I am. And she looked at me and she said, Allison, why do you speed through your audition? She said, I'd like you to have this in your head the next time you walk into a room. She said, Allison, I'd like you to think they should be so fucking lucky. And I have used that with friends. When they need a confidence boost, they should be so fucking lucky.
I love it.
But that was a gift. That was a huge gift. As a woman, as a scared actor, as someone who's afraid of taking up space, that was a big gift. So.
Wow.
Dave Holly, I feel like I'm all over the place and I've probably talked too much.
There's no such thing on this podcast.
Wow, okay. Well, thank you to your listeners too.
Well, they're intrigued. See, that's what I love about this. You know, when I used to work in radio, somebody come in and we would have, maybe 5 minutes for them. They'd get to go to every station in town, but, each one of them, like 3 to 5 minutes would be, hey, that's great. Where's it going to be? What time? Well, how do we get tickets? Mm-hmm. And I figure most people already, if they're interested in something, already know that. But what about the people?
Yeah.
What about the cast? What about the directors, the people that put this all together? What does it all take to bring you art? So
one of the teachers at Eugene Fields said to me after we just put on our musical, because I think everyone in Sioux Falls knows, and I didn't know this until I moved there, but Eugene Field A+ Elementary does a huge musical. Yes, that is a huge musical with 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. Okay. And we did Elf the musical this year. It's a show very dear to my heart. It is magical. It is funny. It is heartwarming. It is full of joy. And it's a little bit New York too. So that's what I wanted. I had to bring a little New York here. But one of the teachers looked at me and she said, "You know what was so exciting, Allison, is I saw the students come through the characters, and I considered that high praise because I think what I was told by casting directors, by agents, and by directors and producers is they want to see what Allison MIckelson brings to a role. So what does this 4th grader bring to Jovi? What does this 5th grader bring to Buddy or to Walter? What do these humans, how do they play this role? Because no one else will play it the way they do. And so I am so interested in that as an actor. And then my friend Jill and I would often say to each other, okay, what is this character teaching you? And what are you teaching this character? What am I bringing to this character, but what is this character bringing to me? And then finally, Dave, I find that more of my art is from my life. I love doing Cabaret, where it's storytelling. And I tend to tell stories from my life because you can't make this shit up.
It's the old write what you know.
Right. Amen. Right. Yeah. And so I find that I love telling certain stories, like there's a dream. I mean, I have a dream role of playing in Come From Away, the pilot in Come From Away. You know, someday I'll play Beverly.
Ooh,
but
awesome.
But I also am writing my own cabaret right now. I'm always writing a cabaret, and because there are just stories in me, and when I can't tell you why, other than finally I'm able to claim that I am a storyteller who has a story to tell, and I think these stories remind us that we are human. I mean, my goal is to connect with people. My goal is to hear other people's stories. And my goal is to tell my story to remind us that I'm as human as you are, I am as you are, right? And so, like, I try to tell the truth and sing and story tell my way through art. And that is my art. And wow, do I wish I could paint pictures. I can't.
Right. You know, we all have something that we can contribute, whether it's to society or the arts community overall. But what you don't really realize is even if you don't consider yourself an artist, you're a creator in some way.
Amen.
And you are bringing something to life, to a community.
Yes.
So just always remember that
right.
It's such an amazing process. All right. You know, we've learned a lot about you today, but there's one thing I've always been wanting to ask.
Okay.
Because you're a thin, tall woman.
Yeah. Tall, 5'5" on a good day.
Well, I've usually seen you in heels on stage.
Oh, that's what it is. Yes, I do love to wear a good pair of heels.
The tuba.
Yeah. I mean, that was a life dream. So I'm a French horn player in real life, in my day job.
One of the tiniest mouthpieces.
Right. Thank you for acknowledging that. I just always want to play the tuba. I always wanted to play the tuba. I also, because I am small, I'm like, what can I do that's ridiculous? Or like, let's take a risk, try something. I tried to teach my kids this year a Scottish saying that's go for it, which is just go. You know, the Scots say whether you're asking any question, they're like, go for it. And so I just wanted to try it. We needed a tuba player. I didn't do it well. I would like to actually take lessons and get semi-decent.
It was fun.
It was fun. That's right.
Yes.
It was.
And you've had a lot of fun with the Haig brothers.
Oh, my gosh.
Will we see you again in a Christmas show?
I
or
hope so. Part of it is learning how to stay healthy as an elementary teacher because the germs in that, I mean, and I say this with all the love, but those kids carry a lot. And so like I just got really, really sick this year. And then unfortunately it hits my voice.
Right.
So I'm learning how to balance. And isn't life always a dance? I would love to sing with them more. I would love, I have many proposals of things to do with them, you know, because it is a deep, deep joy. I mean, talk about chosen family.
Oh, very true.
It's deep joy to play with them and sing with them. So hopefully.
All right. There's a traditional first-time guest, 2 questions.
Oh,
how you answer the first one determines whether the second one needs to be asked.
Okay.
So the first one is, when you're not part of the arts and entertainment community, what do you like to be entertained by?
When I'm not part of the entertainment,
right?
What do I like to be entertained by? Oh, wow. I mean, I have so many answers. I mean, Trio Jazz Club.
Oh, yeah.
Also, nature. I want to be outside every chance I can. I mean, bird song. And what am I? You know what? Wow, this is funny. I'm entertained by kids too.
Yeah.
Like, what? I mean, yeah. I do many things in my classroom to teach, don't get me wrong, but also for my own enjoyment, because watching kindergartners, you know, move their eyes fast versus slow is like, it is magic.
Uh-huh.
They are magical. Watching first graders wink as part of choreography is like next level, like joy bending. So, I mean, I don't know. So I think those are some of the things that entertain me. I love to read.
Okay.
I write letters. I go for a lot of walks. And you know what? My guilty pleasure, I watch cooking videos on YouTube. That's what I do. I try not to scroll too much.
Right. Do you have a go-to dish that you make after watching all these YouTube food videos?
You know what's funny? No, I don't make any of them. I just watch them in awe, and then I make nachos, vegetarian nachos.
Go.
That's what I make. That's over and over again. Vegetarian nachos are a really great spinach salad.
Oh, but there you go.
Cookies. I'll make like salted chocolate chip cookies or something. But I mostly just watch bakers or chefs, and I am in awe because that is an art.
Yes, it is.
And
very much.
I also feel
they call it the culinary arts.
Amen.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's an art that understands theater because it is fleeting. Mm-hmm. It is there, and then it is temporal, right? Like it is time. It will be gone. Like you create something, and then it's released to the stomach or whatever. Just like theater artists, I create something and it's never again the same.
Right.
And then shows close or something like that.
Well,
and my favorite musician is Jacob Collier.
Okay.
Favorite musician. Right now, today.
At the moment, at
Yeah.
least. Okay.
Okay, that was a lot.
Yeah, so then the follow-up question, but you named quite a few, but any other hobbies then?
Oh my gosh, yes. I mean, letter writing, yoga. I do teach, but also I'm a student of yoga, any movement. I love to dance more than just about anything in the whole wide world. Uh-huh. And so actually I should ask your listeners, like, if you want to dance with me, there is a thing in big cities called Daybreakers, and people get together and it's a sober dance party. Actually, they could be doing other drugs, but there's no alcohol at it because it starts at 6 a.m. There's a yoga class from 6 to 7, and then from 7 to 9 you dance, and then you go to work. And it is my favorite thing in the whole entire widest world is to do something like that in Sioux Falls. So I'm putting the call out there, but. Those are some of the things I love to do. Hiking. I just went to the Black Hills and
Well, I love talking to people that have a passion, and there is no doubt about it that you have it for performing.
Amen.
Allison MIckelson, thank you so much for being on the show.
Dave, Holly, thank you for doing this, for giving. I might get emotional, but thank you for giving voice to artists. I mean, this means
pleasure.
the world, because I get to talk a lot, but it really is an honor to get to share some of these things that mean so much to me.
And we thank you for that.
Thank you.
All right. We'll be back to wrap up the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment.
Dr. Perry Langston and Dr. Corey Tooney know excellence is in you. That's why they provide you with excellent care at XO Chiropractic, improving your overall health in spirit, body, mind, and will. Get results the natural way. Arrange a consultation, 605-332-9235 or XOKairos.com. Excellent care for excellent people. XO Chiropractic, located at 4309 South Racket Drive in Sioux Falls.
Hot? No. Cute? No. Ruggedly handsome? Yes. Once again, here's Dave Holly.
Well, thanks again to my great guests, Casey Schultz and Allison MIckelson. Thank you for not only the listening, but for your support of local arts in the Sioux Empire. If you're a first-time listener, if you haven't already, please go to DaveHollyHour.com. Every one of these 278 episodes are available anytime. We look forward to hearing from you as well. I encourage you to find your art. Find the art you enjoy. Find the art you are interested in trying. Then we'll see you in the arts. And I tell you what, as the Sioux Falls Arts Council says, together we art. As Art South Dakota says, home is where the art is. As I say, put some art in your heart. Remember, my name is Dave Holly, and for me, every day is a holiday.
The Dave Holly Hour has been brought to you by Trio Jazz Club, Sioux Falls' premier jazz club, Serendipity Studio Gallery and Gifts, Chasers Food and Spirits, Excel Chiropractic, Quality Nails, and the Sioux Falls Arts Council. Stay up to date on the show by following on Instagram and Facebook. All episodes available anytime at DaveHollyHour.com. The Dave Holly Hour is produced in the Dipsy Doodle Studios by Big D Entertainment.
Thanks for listening.